Hi Stampers, it's Linda Schmidt with Stampin' with the Hounds. Today I've got a fun interactive card that I'm going to show you how to make. It is called the Gatefold Shutter card. So the opening is your gatefold, where you're taking a base of cardstock and you're scoring it on either side to kind of get that door effect. And then when you open it, it does this fun shutter card on the inside. Super fun, and I love hearing the sound of it. Ready? I don't know, it's so goofy. But I'm going to be showing you how to make this one today. The first one I did, I actually put like a little belly band around the card. But I didn't always, when I gave this to my boyfriend, he was like, what do I do with this? So I decided for my other ones I wasn't going to do that little belly band. But here's the chocolate one. And again, this just kind of slips back on like that to keep it closed. This one was inspired. My niece is a Daisy, and she sells Girl Scout cookies, and so she's a huge cookie salesperson. So I'm going to be sending her this card because she's reached her goal for her cookie sales. So there's that, super fun. And then the last one is the coffee one. And on this one, I did mess up because I put my circle up too high. And so I had to kind of finagle a little bit with it. So when you're doing this, make sure that your circle is more in the center of your, of that piece. So otherwise you have to kind of futz with it a little bit. But we're going to be doing this one today. So the set that I'm featuring is the Nothing's Better Than by Stampin' Up. And this one has a coordinating die set with it. And then you'll also need your circle dies. You can either use, this is the layering circles. You can also use the, what is it called? The stitched layers ones. These. You can use the circle out of that one as well if you don't have the layering circles. But the one that you'll need is basically the 2 3/4 inch circle to cut out this circle for that. Okay. All right, so we're gonna get started. So the pieces that you'll need, put this here so I don't lose it, are your card base, which is going to be 5.5 by 8.5. You're going to score at 2 1/8 and 6 3/8. If you don't know what 6 3/8 is, basically score at 2 1/8. So 2 1/8, and then you can always flip it around and score from 2 1/8 on the other side. Otherwise, the 6 3/8 is just 1, 2, 3, and there would be your 6 3/8. But so that's your gatefold card. So then what you'll do is you'll just bring these up and fold on them. So you've got that nice crisp fold, making sure that they're to the center. I'm going to go a little. There we go. Okay, so that's the gatefold part. Then your panels that are just, and this is totally optional, but I just like to add a little bit more color to my card. So these I did, the cardstock is 5 1/4 by 1 7/8, so 5 1/4 by 1 7/8. My DSP layer was just an 1/8 inch in, so 5 1/8 and 1 3/4. Totally optional. You could just do a piece of cardstock or some DSP. You don't have to do the double layer that like I did, but I just thought that white kind of popped underneath this DSP. And so then these are just going to go on the front. Like so. All right. So that is the base of the card. Then your next piece is the inside panel. So this is going to be this part here. So this one, your cardstock is 3 by 5.5. And then the DSP, again, totally optional, but I just thought it would coordinate a little bit more. I just went in like a really narrow, just an 1/8 inch in. You can do a 1/4 inch in more if you want, but I wanted I wanted a really narrow kind of border. So that one was 2 7/8 by 5 3/8. Now we're going to be cutting out that center, so I'm not going to put adhesive in the center. I'm just putting it on the edges here. And then this is going to layer onto that 3 by 5.5 inch panel. And then this is where you're going to take and cut out your circle. So you want to avoid having it way up here, because when you put your shutters in, it'll hit. So you want to make sure that this circle, actually I wonder if I grabbed, I think this might be the, no, I need the other one. Sorry. I thought I had grabbed the right circle size. I need the one down from this. Yeah. There we go. So I'm going to go right in the center. So we're going to die cut that out. And I'm just going to get my big shot here. So just want to make sure that that's in the center. Oops, sorry. Okay, and then this piece you can just keep for another project. We're not going to use it. I'm going to put this away before I lose it. Okay. Now, I've already, just because I like to add my little scallop border, I took this is that new Love You Always foil. There's like a Blushing Bride, I think it has like the Rococo Rose and then kind of like a Sahara Sand. And this is the Blushing Bride. So it's kind of got like a little bit of a coral kind of peach. So with my drink, I thought it kind of complemented with that Calypso coral with it. So this one I've already made my little frame using my scallop circles and circle die. I thought I would save a little bit of time. So I'm just going to use my Tombow, the liquid glue. This stuff is like gold. I love this stuff. So you're going to put this right on top. And again, this part is optional. I just think it really finishes the card. And then I already cut, so this was the same size circle that I used to cut this center out. So this is going to layer back behind here, and you can actually just use a scratch piece of white paper. It doesn't really matter what size this is, because it's just going to be behind that part and when we do our shutters. So I'm going to set this aside for now because we want to do our shutters. So the shutter part, you're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock cut at 3.5 by 4 inches. Then you're going to score. And this is where you want to make sure you're scoring on the right, on the correct side, because if you don't, your shutters will get messed up. Believe me, I know, I messed up the first time I did this. Okay, so on the 4-inch side, I'm going to have that up at the top here. And then I'm going to score at a 1/2 inch. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other one. So I'm going to make sure I'm on the 4-inch, and then I'm going to score at a 1/2 inch. Okay, so that's step 1 of making your shutters. Step 2, this is where you got to get your measuring going. You're going to take and measure. I'm going to move this so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So that's why I love my grid paper. So on the 4-inch side, I'm going to make a mark using a pencil. I'm going to mark it 2 inches because half of 4, because I'm trying to find the center is the purpose of this. So I'm just going to mark it with a pencil. Then on the 3.5-inch side, I'm going to score up, or not score, I'm going to mark at 1 3/4 because that's half. Okay, so now I know where my center is. So then I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to line this up so I'm right in the center and I'm right down to my corner. So I'm going to make my diagonal line on both sides. So I'm going to make these triangles that I'm cutting out. Okay, so then where I got it, here it is. You can either use scissors, but I find that using like a hobby blade and a cutting pad is a little bit, I get a straighter cut. So this is just an old, these are retired, but you can use, you can get hobby blades pretty much anywhere, or an X-Acto blade. So I'm just going to use my ruler again, and I want to make sure that I've got my ruler lined up against that pencil line, and then I'm just going to cut right along that. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. And then that part comes out. Oops, let me get a little bit more. There we go. And then you can just flip it over, okay? So then do the same thing on the other one, or you can, if you wanted to, you can take this and cut it, but I just like to make sure my measurements are exact. So I'm gonna redo it again. So I've got them on that 4-inch side. I'm gonna mark at 2 inches, and then I'm gonna mark again at 1 3/4, so I can find my center. And then I'm going to line it right into the center to the corner of my cardstock here. So I'm making that triangle. And then we'll cut this out. With our X-Acto blade or hobby blade. Run it through twice just to make sure it's cutting through, and then those you can use for something else. I'm just going to discard them for now. Close that up so I don't cut myself. Okay, and then you're going to flip it over so that you don't see those pencil marks. If you want, you know, you can go ahead and erase them if they're showing through at all, but I think these are pretty good. Okay, so then I'm going to fold on my tabs here. All right, and then we're going to go back to our card base. Okay, so now, get that away so I don't lose it. You're going to use some tear and tape. So now we're going to make these shutters. So they're going to go in like so. And you can kind of center it in your card. So we're going to put adhesive on both of these tabs. So using the tear and tape, I'm just going to place adhesive on that 1/2-inch tab. Okay. And then I'm going to remove it. And then this again, where it's kind of nice to have that grid paper so you can see what you're doing. So I'm putting this so that the cardstock is right inside that crease. And I want to make sure I'm pretty much centered. And then what you're going to do, since this is right up against that fold, I'm just going to bring this down, and that way it picks it up. Okay, and then I like to take my bone folder just to give that a good crease, just to make sure it's held down. So then same thing, remove your tear and tape. And then I like to interlock. Oh, I put that on the wrong side, so I will have to remove my pencil lines. Always something when I go live or do a video. Oh well. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So now I like to make sure that it's interlocked. So one goes behind, one goes on top. And then same thing, I want to make sure I'm straight here. You want to make sure your crease, this fold, is right up against, or I'm sorry, the edge of your shutter is in this crease line on your base of your card. And then also making sure that your shutters are even on either side. So now this is right here in the crease. I'm going to put this down so I can pick up so it's attached. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and just fold that, making sure these kind of stay interlocked. And then that, and I always just give it one good bum bum. Okay, so now we're going to add, and what I have found is I like to put the dimensionals on this piece. So I'm going to use, these are our black dimensionals. I love these things because you don't see the white from the side when you look at the card. And then this is where I kind of put a little bit of adhesive because I just want to get my ballpark so I know where this needs to be. Okay, and then we can press that down. And then this is the part too. So when you're getting ready to make your card, before you stamp, make sure that whatever image you're putting in here is going to fit. So I did, because adulting is hard. So what I did is I took the little cocktail and I stamped this in the crushed curry. And then I did the because adulting is hard in the garden green. And I'm going to, excuse me, so I want to make sure I'm, and then I like to almost keep this closed so that I can, sorry, excuse my head if it gets in the way here. I want to make sure I'm centered. And then that way it's positioned correctly. Okay, so make sure those are interlocked like so. Then you can go ahead and put your inside panel on top of this. And then this again is going to make sure your card, if you've got pattern paper, make sure it's going the right way. I almost made the mistake of putting it in upside down before. Then this is going to get centered. Make sure you're kind of flush at the top and on the bottom. That looks good. Bink. So fun. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. And then let's decorate this card. So I've already kind of die cut my pieces. So I did my little cocktails and I'm going to stamp each one of these with the Calypso Coral. Get this out of the way. So we're going to stamp. There's 1, 2, and 3. And then I did the little piece of fruit there. I did this in crushed curry. And then the umbrella I did in garden green. And then because I like to add a little bit of glimmer, I'm going to use my Wink of Stella and just add some glitter. I have to order a new Wink of Stella. We're getting low. It's like one of my favorite little things. It's glitter, but without the mess. Okay, so those are my pieces. And then on the outside, so I've already die cut my circles. I'm going to, and I took my little, from the framelit, the Love You, not Love You Always, Love You More Than. It's got cocktails that die cuts. It's got coffee, chocolate, so all the different words and stuff. And then it has all these that you can die cut out. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue on this because I forgot to put it on an adhesive sheet. It would have made my life a little bit easier when I die cut it out. So we'll put this not quite in the center. When you die cut it out, it does have a little piece of cardstock for the eye, but I wanted to use one of my little gemstones, so I'm putting that in there. And then I also want to put a gemstone on my cocktail. Okay, and then we're going to do a dimensional on this, and then I'll probably, and then I need my saying. So we're going to do, today is a cocktails kind of day. It's Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. I'm sure people will be doing a few cocktails today. Today is a, and then that's going to kind of go there. So just kind of thinking where I'm having it here. And we'll go right about there. Okay. And then this will get attached to my foil that I've already die cut out. Ooh, we're getting low on adhesive. Almost done with the card. And then this gets attached to the front with just a teeny bit of that border showing. Then you want to make sure that you're only putting adhesive on the one half of it because you don't want the adhesive to show when you open up the card. So I only want the adhesive on this side. So again, I like to use that tear and tape just because this is a super strong adhesive and I know it's not going to fall off. Okay. And then we'll put that in the center. Make sure it opens. Yep, looks good. And then I'm going to take my one cocktail and we'll place it right about there. And I think I'm going to add one more little tiny dimensional because I want my umbrella to not be flying around there. Okay, so there's that one. And then I did want to put some cocktails on the inside. So again, on these, especially for this one on the top, make sure you don't block the shutter. So I'm not going to put adhesive on the bottom of this because I don't want it sticking to that shutter. So again, same thing here. Just make sure that this isn't going to impede the shutter mechanism. So I'm only going to put adhesive up at the top. And then I think that should be okay. I'm going to add I'm going to do a couple gems too. Got to have some bling on the card. And there we go. So that is the Gatefold shutter card. so fun. So I would love to see your creation. So be sure to like my tutorial, and then I'll see you on Stampin' with the VIP Hound, my Facebook group. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.